In the aftermath of the Great War of Lanka, we witness one of the most intriguing yet often overlooked chapters of the Ramayana. The marriage of Mandodari, Ravana's widow, to his righteous brother Vibhishana. The golden city of Lanka lies in ruins. The 10-headed demon king Ravana has fallen, his pride finally broken by Rama's divine arrows. As smoke clears from the battlefield, a new chapter begins, not just for Lanka, but for those who must rebuild from the ashes of war. Among them stands Mandodari, the most virtuous woman in Lanka, now a widow. And beside her, Vibhishana, the brother who chose righteousness over blood loyalty. Mandodari was no ordinary queen. Daughter of the celestial architect Mayasura and the Apsara Hema, she possessed both divine beauty and profound wisdom. Throughout Ravana's reign, she served as his moral compass, repeatedly warning him against the path of adharma. When Ravana abducted Sita, Mandodari pleaded with him to return her, foreseeing the destruction that would follow. Her words, though filled with love and concern, fell on deaf ears. Vibhishana, meanwhile, had already proven his commitment to Dharma by abandoning his brother's cause and seeking refuge with Rama. This wasn't betrayal. It was the highest form of loyalty to truth itself. When family ties conflict with righteousness, the dharmic choice becomes clear, even if painful. Vibhishana's decision to support Rama wasn't just political calculation, it was spiritual awakening. After Ravana's death, Rama himself crowned Vibhishana as the king of Lanka. This wasn't merely a reward for loyalty, it was recognition of Vibhishana's fitness to rule according to dharmic principles. But kingship brings responsibilities that extend beyond personal preferences. A kingdom needs stability, legitimacy, and continuity, especially one recovering from the devastation of war. Here emerges the question of Mandodari's future. In ancient Indian society, royal widows faced complex situations. Their status, security, and role in the kingdom's future were matters of both personal and political significance. Mandodari, despite being Ravana's wife, had maintained her moral integrity throughout his reign. Her wisdom and virtue were acknowledged even by Rama himself. The marriage between Mandodari and Vibhishana, therefore, wasn't merely a political alliance, though it certainly served that purpose. It represented the triumph of Dharma over the chaos of war. By marrying Mandodari, Vibhishana wasn't just securing political stability, he was honoring the virtue that had survived even in Ravana's court. This union addressed multiple dharmic considerations simultaneously. For Mandodari, it provided security and dignity in a world transformed by war. For Vibhishana, it brought legitimacy and continuity to his rule. For Lanka itself, it symbolized the integration of the old order's virtue with the new order's righteousness. Some might question the propriety of a brother marrying his deceased brother's wife. However, ancient Indian traditions included provisions for such unions under specific circumstances, particularly when they served the greater good. The practice of niyoga, though primarily about lineage continuation, reflected broader principles about duty superseding personal preferences when dharmic purposes were served. The Sanskrit concept of Raja Dharma, the duty of kings, encompasses not just personal righteousness, but the welfare of subjects and the stability of the kingdom. Vibhishana's marriage to Mandodari exemplified this principle. It wasn't driven by desire or convenience, but by the recognition that their union would best serve Lanka's recovery and future prosperity. Mandodari's consent to this marriage reveals her own understanding of Dharma. Having witnessed the destruction that resulted from Ravana's adharmic actions, she chose to support the establishment of a righteous order in Lanka. Her marriage to Vibhishana represented her active participation in Lanka's spiritual and political renewal. This story teaches us that Dharma often requires us to transcend conventional expectations and personal preferences. Both Mandodari and Vibhishana sacrificed their individual comfort for the greater good. Their union wasn't a romantic fairy tale, but a conscious choice to serve dharmic purposes through personal sacrifice. The marriage also demonstrates how political necessities and spiritual principles can align when guided by wisdom. Modern leaders often face similar dilemmas, balancing personal values with public responsibilities, individual desires with collective needs. Vibhishana and Mandodari's example shows that such challenges can be navigated with integrity when Dharma remains the guiding principle. Furthermore, This union represents the integration of different perspectives within a righteous framework. Mandodari brought her experience of Ravana's court and her understanding of Lanka's people. Vibhishana contributed his commitment to dharmic governance and his relationship with Rama's ideals. Together, they could rebuild Lanka on foundations that honored both its heritage and its future aspirations. The story also highlights the role of women in ancient Indian political structures. Mandodari wasn't merely a passive recipient of political arrangements. Her wisdom, virtue, and active participation in Lanka's governance made her an essential partner in Vibhishana's rule. This reflects the Hindu understanding that effective governance requires the integration of both masculine and feminine principles, strength and compassion, authority and wisdom. In the broader context of the Ramayana, this marriage represents the complete transformation of Lanka, from a kingdom ruled by ego and desire to one governed by Dharma and wisdom. It shows that redemption is possible not just for individuals, but for entire civilizations when righteousness becomes the foundation of power. The union of Mandodari and Vibhishana teaches us that sometimes the most dharmic choices appear unconventional to outside observers. What matters isn't conformity to social expectations, but alignment with eternal principles of righteousness. Their marriage reminds us that true leadership requires the courage to make difficult decisions for the greater good. As we reflect on this story, we're reminded that Dharma operates not just in grand gestures of heroism, but in the practical decisions of governance and daily life. The marriage of Mandodari and Vibhishana shows us that even in the aftermath of great conflicts, wisdom and virtue can create new foundations for peace and prosperity.